We're talking NBA preseason. And, the numbers for the NBA champion haven't changed that much. They just haven't. Conference winners are still, pretty much what I expected. Houston Rockets, I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to get into that soon. But what I want to talk about today is the player futures. And if you're looking at the player futures in the NBA, and we're talking about MVP here, right? We're talking about MVP. Luka Doncic is a preseason favorite at plus 400. Now, I like Dallas. Are you just looking at they are the most valuable player for that franchise? Are they the most valuable player in the league? We can go back to years and years, decades ago, when everyone would joke about, oh, well, they only gave it to Karl Malone or Hakeem Olajuwon because they didn't want to give it to Jordan again. Or I think Patrick Ewing even won it one year. Maybe I'm wrong there. But that's always been a debate, because if I'm looking at the championship winner and the conference winner, right, you're looking at the Lakers. Oh, well, he's the MVP. LeBron James is the MVP. Well, guess where LeBron James? You can get him at plus 900. But you got Luka at the top at plus 400, Giannis at plus 450. LeBron James and Anthony Davis are tied at 900. Steph Curry at plus 800. The name I'm looking at is Kevin Durant. That's the player that I like. You can get him at plus 1,200. I know it's a gamble. It's a gamble in many ways, because you're sitting here looking at two players who were injured last year in Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. And I see a player in Kevin Durant that's hungry, that's locked in, that wants to show for anyone who said, oh, well, of course, he only won the championship in Golden State because he had Steph Curry and Clay and Draymond Green and yada, yada, yada. So there's no doubt in my mind, and probably it should be in your mind, that Kevin Durant's got something to play for, and he's on a mission. So I like him at MVP at plus 1,200. You can get Jason Tatum at plus 1,600. Kawhi Leonard's all the way down at plus 2,500. You want to talk about a player who's going to be trying his best to prove that, hey, all of the issues that we had last year with Doc Rivers and Paul George and being in the bubble, they're gone. Kawhi Leonard, that's a steal at plus 2,500. Jimmy Butler's plus 3,000. Devin Booker's plus 2,500. He's going to have a phenomenal year. A phenomenal year. He's got a point guard in Chris Paul, who's going to help shape that team and turn Devin Booker into what could be he's already a superstar. But man, oh man, this year, woo, watch out. Watch out. Okay, Rookie of the Year. I think the steal for me, Obi Toppin, plus 600 for the Knicks. If you look at that Knicks roster, they've got R.J. Barrett. I think that they are a young, up-and-coming team that when I see who's going to get shots, who is going to be the top player for the Knicks, Elfrid Payton at point guard, Alec Burks at shooting guard, R.J. Barrett, followed up by Kevin Knox II, Julius Randle at the power forward, Obi Toppin as his backup, Nerlens Noel as a center. I could see a lineup where you put Julius Randle on the court with a Obi Toppin, R.J. Barrett, Elfrid Payton, and Austin Rivers as the, how do I want to say, the veteran, the seasoned veteran who can help lead this team. And you can also put him at the point guard and then throw in an Emmanuel quickly at the shooting guard. But they're a team that is coming off one of their worst seasons ever. You don't know where they are going to go. And I think when you have someone like a Obi Toppin, who is maybe the steal of the draft in Obi Toppin, I like him to get Rookie of the Year. Now, in a tie, I think James Wiseman will also have an opportunity to really be able to shine on a Warriors team in many ways that is going to need him to step up. He's going to flourish in a system under a Steve Kerr who is, he's gonna get minutes. James Wiseman probably may get minutes more than Obi Toppin, and you can get him at plus 600. But he's going to be playing with Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins, Kelly Oubre, Draymond Green, and James Wiseman.
I know you like the long shots. I like Denny Avita and Tyrese Halliburton at plus 1,500 each. Halliburton a little less because he plays for the Kings and he's going to have that Sacramento bias against him because, who really cares about what Sacramento's doing? But Denny looks good. Denny looks good in that the preseason game against the Nets last night.
So the thing for me when I thought about that, I did not add Denny because I imagine when the season starts, Bradley Beal,
he's not going to be getting many shots.
And Russell Westbrook. Like, you're not getting anything. The reason I feel like, and in Golden State, you're probably not. And that's why I like Obi Toppin. Because I think for the Knicks, it's like, what do we have to lose? What do we have to lose with the Knicks? But I did have Halliburton as a sleeper at plus 1,500. Also got Patrick Williams with the Bulls. I feel like you got on the Bulls, you've got a lot of players in the Zach LaVine, Otto Porter, Nunn. They're going to be trying to get there, so to speak. So it may be hard for a Patrick Williams to think that he can get some shots. But, I mean, he was taken fourth. If nothing else, if you're the front office, you're like, yo, we took this guy fourth. We got to get him his shots. We can't let this guy just end up whittling away on the bench. But I don't know. I mean, Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Otto Porter, Lauri Markkanen, and Wendell Carter Jr., I mean, I don't know where he's going to get his shots. That's a tough one. But I like it as a long shot. I like where you're thinking, Bo. I like what you're thinking. I had Tyrese and Patrick. I did not have Denny at plus 1,500. But at the same time, you're right. He's right below Obi Toppin and James Wiseman on DraftKings at plus 1,500, behind both of them at plus 600. So we'll see. Okay. Leading scorer in the NBA. This was tough for me to kind of decide where I could even go with leading scorer in the NBA. James Harden is at the top of that list at plus 125. You can get Bradley Beal, who was second behind James Harden. You can get him at plus 2,000. How do you not take that? How do you not take Bradley Beal at plus 2,000? If your concern is, and I think it is concern, that Russell Westbrook, when Harden was playing with Westbrook, some of his numbers went down. It's going to be interesting to see where Bradley Beal is going to be as the top scorer. And if his numbers will go down from the 30 points per game he was averaging last year, not in the bubble, but in the season before when it ended in February, March. You can get Kevin Durant at plus 2,500. Again, if he's going to get MVP, then how could you not look at him to be the leading scorer in the NBA? I imagine he's going to want to light it up. But if he can be comeback player of the year, which I didn't talk about now, but I'll talk about later, Steph Curry at plus 800. That's who I like. Steph Curry at plus 800. I think coming off of an injury, Golden State having one of their worst seasons ever, Steph Curry's going to be like, hey, don't forget about me. Don't forget about me. He was a former MVP, and I think he's going to want to show that he's back. So I like Steph Curry at plus 800. So there you go. Now, you could also look at Devin Booker, who I said he's going to have a great season at plus 1100. There's just so many options here of who you can pick. Kawhi Leonard's plus 5,000. I wouldn't take him because I feel like he and Paul George are going to kind of share the ball a little bit more. So I don't like that. But Jason Tatum at plus 5,000, I could see that too. Now, I said at the top about leading scorer James Harden at plus 125. James Harden, according to Ramona Shelburne in a report on ESPN, he's unmoved, uninterested by the addition of John Wall. And he doesn't want to stay with the Rockets. My thing is, I almost feel like it's really unfair to even put John Wall in this conversation. And I say that because James Harden, and to that effect, Russell Westbrook, they wanted to be traded well before John Wall was even in the conversation. When Daryl Morey left, when Mike D'Antoni pretty much just said, yeah, I don't want to coach anymore, I'm out. He didn't say, oh, I'm retiring. He was just simply saying, I don't want to coach here anymore. I'm done with this team. That was the beginning of the end of the Houston Rockets. So I think it's unfair to kind of put Wall in that. I don't think in any way it seems to me when I read that headline that he would be unmoved and uninterested by John Wall coming in. I mean, if you see the way the Rockets played already, John Wall's got the ball in his hand. So in some ways, maybe, yes, he would say that, but not because it's John Wall, but more because, yeah, I tried this experiment with CP3. Then I tried this experiment with Russell Westbrook. It just doesn't work for me. I need the ball in my hand. Now, there are two teams that he's saying he wants to go to. Well, you're not going to have the ball in your hand if you go to Brooklyn Nets. Nah, B. That's not happening. If you are Kevin Durant and you see how surly he is with all of all of the James Harden talk. No, Kyrie Irving, one of them is going to have to go. Kyrie or a Kevin Durant's going to have to go from Brooklyn in order to even bring in James Harden. And that's not happening. So I don't see the trade happening there. And then the other team is Philly. It's like, well, wait a minute. I guess you're going to have to get rid of either Embiid or nothing, really, because if I'm Houston, Joel Embiid is the only guy that I want. I don't know if I want a Ben Simmons who can't shoot unless you're changing him to a small forward. I mean, Ben Simmons has the height for that. But again, it's another team that I just don't see that trade happening. Actually, maybe to the Knicks would be the better team. If you can say, give me a Barrett, give me a Obi Toppin. I mean, it seems crazy. Maybe the Bulls. You give me a Zach LaVine and an Otto Porter and a Patrick Williams and a Lauri Markkanen. But I think if I'm James Harden, he's looking to go to a winner. But if I'm the Houston Rockets, it's like, no, I'm going to send you to the best team that helps our future. PJ Tucker, he's not showing up either. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Houston. It really is. Man. I don't feel for what's going down there. Steven Silas, Steven Jackson called out James Harden saying, yo, if you were a real one, you want to play for a black coach, help a brother out. But I guess in many ways, Harden's like, nah, I'm not interested in that either.